Marc Claire here for Bounding into Comics, and I'm going to berate you right from the beginning. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of the great content, and there's tons of it coming at you from the Bounding into Comics team. But I actually want to take a look at an article today coming from Deadline. You don't need to go over there and read it because I'm going to do that for you, but they're still getting the click, all right? They're getting the click from me. But I think it's actually a really interesting look into what goes on behind the scenes of the MCU, at least what has gone on in terms of production with Stage 4, and maybe a glimpse into why the product has suffered so much from this little line from actor Ray Winstone. Now, I had never heard of actor Ray Winstone before this. At least I didn't know, but I looked him up. He's been in a lot of stuff. He seems like he's really one of those guys that you see him in a movie and you're like, I've seen that guy before. So this guy, Ray Winstone, he played Dreykov in the Black Widow movie. Our headline here, Marvel Cinematic Universe work called Soul Destroying by actor Ray Winstone. So what did Ray say here exactly, Mr. Ray Winstone? Well, Ray, he appeared in Marvel's Black Widow, again, which came out in 2021 and starred Scarlett Johansson as the titular character. It's a fun word to say. It was not fun, he said, however, in this week's issue of Radio Times, as he revealed his experience playing the film's villain, Russian General Dreykov. Now, I will say, the Black Widow film, I saw this movie at a time where we had just pretty much, I think this is one of the first movies, correct me if I'm wrong, that it was in theaters. I did see it in a theater, and we were just coming out of that thing that shut things down for a while, and I don't think I had been to a movie, or really hardly anyone had been to movies in a long time. I'm pretty sure it was also dual released on Disney+, but this was the first movie, I believe formally, of Stage 4, Marvel. So what Ray said here, he said, it was not fun, he said in this week's issue of Radio Times. It was fine until you have to do the reshoots. Then you find out that a few producers have come down and your performance is too much, it's too strong. That's the way Marvel works. It can be soul destroying because you feel like you're doing great work. And I gotta say, of that movie, Black Widow didn't blow me away, but I think at the time, it maybe impacted me more as a better movie than it really is because we had been deprived of Marvel and of superheroes and of movies and of the experience so much. So I thought it was an okay sort of spy thriller. It didn't blow me away. In hindsight, it would be sort of indicative of the kind of, at best, okay level of film that we're going to get from Stage 4. Instead, at the time, I think it was kind of like, oh, well, that was okay. That was like a fun little spy thriller that gave us some insight into Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, introduced the new Black Widow, yada, yada, yada. Let's see where this goes. I think a lot of that goodwill has deteriorated since then. But it seems already at this point, there was the too many cooks in the kitchen problem that Marvel is having, because really what made the Marvel Cinematic Universe so successful was its coherency of storytelling, which was held together by the oversight of Kevin Feige. It was not because Iron Man was some hugely popular franchise. It was certainly not because Captain America or Thor were hugely popular franchises. But those films did really well, and the interconnectedness of those films was done in such a way that it never became overcomplicated. Now, when I say never, I mean currently in Phase 4, it's overcomplicated for sure. I couldn't imagine being a Marvel fan or someone new to one of these things that, says, well, where do I start? Well, you just need to watch about 27 movies and 10 Disney Plus series, and you should kind of be caught up. Very intimidating, but in the initial phases of the MCU, really Phase 1, Phase 2, I would even argue Phase 3 was still fairly tight, even though there were a decent amount of additional properties at that point. But the key to this whole thing has always really been Kevin Feige as the producer. Kevin Feige having oversight on the whole project, and his team of people who were really meticulously not overseeing the ins and outs of the production, but overseeing the big picture. But now at Marvel, the whole thing is flipped. Since in the Disney Plus era, everything has been flipped around. Their idea was content equals Disney Plus subscriptions. So now we just need to make more content, and obviously when we have 18, 20 movies on the plate, 10, 12 Disney Plus series, you're not going to have Kevin Feige or anyone that can really keep that tight a control and that much of a cohesiveness over it. So what you end up with are a bunch of producers, a bunch of writers who are all sort of tasked with seeing the whole thing through, are all sort of reporting to Kevin Feige. But when you have this many different projects that are all supposed to maybe sometimes come together, the grand scheme of this thing was to bring everything together from 4, 5, and 6 into eventually another Avengers 5 and 6 Secret Wars. I've already done videos about how the Kang thing has been a disaster even before Jonathan Majors' current issues and whatnot. But the point is, I think what Ray Winstone, who is a fine actor by all means, check out his resume on IMDb, quite good. He's done a lot. He's been around the block. I have a feeling he knows what he's talking about. And yeah, when you have a bunch of different cooks without the direction, without that large oversight, it's clear the same kind of direction is not there for phases 4, 5, and 6 as it was for phase 1, 2, and 3. They went the direction of, instead of quality and cohesiveness, they went for quantity, thinking that if we just have more reasons to send people to Disney Plus, then our bigger franchises, they'll come, they'll float us all up, and we're all going to make billions. Quite the opposite has happened, and you are seeing a lot of adjustments, or at least reported adjustments, especially with how they're doing the Daredevil Born Again show and all sorts of other things. But it was fun to take a little look at this insight from, by all accounts, a fine actor in Ray Winstone. So thank you to Deadline for putting this out there for us so we could get a little glimpse into things. And I did want to see one other thing I want to take a look at here. Is there was a comment that I just happened to notice in the comment section of this Deadline article. It said, and this is a comment about Ray Winstone. The guy says, "This is the same guy who supports the economic ruination of the UK, aka Brexit, because I don't need some frog telling me how to eat me pork chop. Thank you very much." Clearly one of the great minds of our time. I'm sure he is trying to mock Mr. Ray Winstone with that comment, but if Ray Winstone said anything close to that, I think he's actually a guy I might get along with quite a bit. So Ray Winstone, everybody, give it up for Ray Winstone, and give it up for the team at Bounding Into Comics, who's going to continue to deliver you incredible content here on the YouTube channel, live streams. You got articles galore over at boundingintocomics.com. Make sure you're checking out everything. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.